Start with breaking news. South Africa has been delisted from the notorious grey list after more than 2 years of intense scrutiny by the Financial Action Task Force. The global financial crime watchdog placed South Africa on the list in February 2023 for not complying with international standards around the prevention of money laundering and terrorist financing. The unwanted tag has taken the country more than 2 years to shed after addressing 22 urgent action items. Burkina Faso, Mozambique and Nigeria have also been delisted from the grey list. And motorists are urged to exercise patience and caution after temporary closure of multiple major routes in Tshwane, Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni for a provincial joint traffic operation. This joint operation serves as preparation for the upcoming G20 summit, where world leaders are expected to gather in Nasrec next month. The operation that are targeting high-security road networks started this morning and will continue tomorrow from early in the morning well into the afternoon. Dogozo Khumalo reports.
Some routes are expected to be affected by the safety and compliance operations today and tomorrow. Temporary road closures and lane restrictions will be enforced on the multiple routes. These include the N1, N3, N12, Melrose Boulevard, Jan Smuts Avenue, Rivonia Road, Nasrec Road, Golden Highway and many other key routes. Provincial Traffic Police spokesperson Obed Sibasa urges motorists to use alternative routes to travel for the duration of the joint operation.
Buyers no gear instead of R512 Malibongo Drive or the N1 for west and northwest travel.
Clear signage, traffic officers and real-time updates will be provided to road users. Ndogozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says more countries are ready to normalize relations with Israel, but the decision will await a broader regional agreement. Rubio is touring a U.S.-led multinational center amid coordinating a ceasefire in Gaza. He says a sustained end to the war will encourage more countries to join the so-called Abraham's Accord, under which the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Morocco normalized ties with Israel in 2020. He's also stated Israel needs to be at ease with nations contributing to a future international security force in Gaza. A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg will drop to overnight lows of 12 degrees and peak at highs of 30 degrees. Dominic Machola, Eyewitness News.
In touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Great show as always, Darop.
Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show as always.
Great show as always. Thanks.
Great show as always.
Great show as always, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful show, Robert. Thank you so much. It
always gives me pleasure to speak to someone who's got such an insight.
I love the introduction.
Hey, what is show, Marawa?
I don't know, maybe you are still calling Mr. Madluputo or maybe that does not exist.
Sure, Robbie.
World Cup, here we come.
Mustn't be MBMP.
I'm not a new. Why do I say I'm new?
You know what is happening at Chiba is a joke. It is a joke. This guy, he can't even answer a simple question. You have tried, Praropo. You ask him.
But Senesipo, you are the sporting director, right? Summarize, what are your duties?
To ensure that I put the chairman's vision into a sporting strategy.
Even and Rob, it's very sad to hear the role of a sporting director being reduced to what it sounds like a spokesperson of a political party.
It was just horrible listening to this interview. It was just one of those horrible interviews to listen to.
Can't even tell us a simple question. The chairman or the owner of Baroka, they are not made sure.
I mean, he's the man who's reached the edge of silence and he's chosen to speak for the very first time. Tapelo January joins us live in studio.
I learned of my suspension through a news article. So it says that I'm difficult to work with. this is now from the administrator making that statement. I'm very difficult to work with, and I'll be suspended within that week.
And we just want to check also your protection because of you are name dropping serious people. Are you well protected or what?
In March already, I've written to Cricket South Africa to say that we need a bit of protection, especially when it comes to our work arrangements, stuff like that. Till date, Rob, that email was never answered. If anything should happen to me, they will know who to look for.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Busy Friday. As we prepare for the weekend, we'll tell you all about the fixtures, the games, and everything else. It is a Friday, which means that it is Legends Night. Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Let's go! The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
Good evening, Rob. Good evening to MSW listeners. This is Lawrence from Protea Glen. I just want to wish Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, Stellenbosch, and Mamelodi Sundowns in their upcoming CAF Champions League games and Confederation Cup respectively. I think the eyes will be on Pirates as to see how they are going to come back on this game to turn around the deficit of 3-0 with the positive mind. I think they can do it. They've got a strong team and they've got a free scoring team. They can do it. But all in all, I wish all four teams the best of luck, and I wish to see them on the next round, the group stages. Good show as always. Thank you very much, Rob.
Evening, Ta Robert Marawa. Yeah, sad news. Ngamuzwa called Sister Portia. Ta Robert, I can testify, Ta Robert, to what Sister Portia is saying. Mina, Sister Chaps, which of us is the next door. I mean, Mangvakashile Mamkulu Amezola 3. Yo, Ta Rob, aye. In this country, if there is too much. Those are the heroes. Sabane recognition Women's League. See country. Tarop. I hope whoever can come to his senses and this come to his cardinal attention. Tarop umluleke mkondo. Condolences to the Kumalo families. In next door abomina. Gakuzwayo. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. That was the sad news that we were dealing with in the earlier part of the show today. We were chatting to Portia Modise on the back of the sad news of Javas Vusikumalo having passed away and the struggle to get some form of money that is owed to her for being the kit manager for the national team for so many years. So that is the claim that is coming through. The South African Football Association have been able to just hand over 20,000 Rand to the family to assist with the burial. As I say, it was the early days, the beginning of Banyana, the beginning of their journey back in the 1990s, when South African women's football was still fighting very, very hard for its place, standing shoulder to shoulder with the likes of Desiree Ellis, who's now the Banyana coach, Portia Modise, one of these stalwarts. But that is why tonight we were just looking back on a career laden with success, a career that obviously was a spotlight of the family's journey, but sadly coming to an end and just seeking some form of help and resolve.
Good evening, Marawa, and good evening to Portia. Ndiam Portia Rob. Agekom Nandi. She is in pain, and I understand where she's coming from. Rob, this is where we need to see footprints. Zika Minister of Sport. This is where we need to see a Minister of Sport, not only when Bafana or Banyana or under 17 or whatever they've won and they've qualified for a tournament. When Kunzima, this is where we want to see him. So Rob, can you please get hold of Gaten McKenzie and Ancede Kwelakhaya? Enkosi Rob, because akhonto sinothembela kuyo kuSAFA. There's nothing SAFA that will do, Rob, in situations like this. Enkosi Rob.
All right, see you in Gqeberha. Thank you so much indeed. That's a reaction that is coming through. We'll take any of your reaction as well. Maybe any memories that you do have of Javas. can tell you that this weekend, Durban City goalkeeper Darren Keat is upbeat about their chances of winning the Carling knockout, drawing motivation from last season's success of fellow less fancied side Makesi. Well, Durban face Richards Bay in the knockout quarterfinals at Richards Bay Stadium. That's happening tomorrow, 3 p.m.
Look, there's not too much that I have to do. I think we have a good team. And we got players who are capable of getting a good win. Obviously, Richards Bay is a tough opponent to come up against, but I think my job's just to keep everyone in the game, and hopefully, we get the goals that we need, and we come away with the win that we need. I think we've been working hard. We've done well. I think we've exceeded most people's expectations, but I think we've got our own aspirations and our own expectations of ourselves, and we need to continue with that. It's nice. It's favourable in terms of the trip. A home game would have been nice, but Richards Bay is not too far away. But like I said, they are a tough opponent. They've shown in their recent form that they've done pretty well, and we're going to expect a tough game, but we've got to be prepared for it. It's a great opportunity. We saw Magesi did it last year. And, there's no reason why we don't have a good enough team to do it ourselves. Obviously, we have to take it game by game, and we have to be willing to go for the challenge and for the fight. And, we'll see where we end up at the end of the day. But I think we definitely have a team that's good enough, strong enough, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's one of those competitions that you want to win. You want to get your foot in the door, especially it all happens before the turn of the year, and when you get to turn that year in good form, then it does you well for the second half of the season.
Well, as you know, that Darren Keat joined Durban City before the start of the season after leaving Cape Town City in the wake of their relegation from the Premiership. Now, the former Bafana Bafana shot-stopper also opened up about experiencing relegation, disclosing that he wanted to stay put.
It's part of football, so there's a first time for everything, and I mean it's the first time that I was relegated with Cape Town City. Obviously things never worked out. We struggled in a few departments, and at the end of the day you have to try and move forward. I was actually quite keen on staying and helping them, but they already signed another keeper before the season ended, and we just decided to move our separate ways, and then it was up to the next challenge, whatever was waiting for me. And Durban City came knocking, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited. It's the first time I've lived in Durban. I've lived in Joburg, in Cape Town. I've lived overseas, but in Durban it's been very, very nice, and my family comes to visit. But other than that, it's been pretty good here. So I've enjoyed the club, I've enjoyed the environment, and I've enjoyed the city.
We'll talk about City. Durban City coach Gavin Hunt has stressed the importance of staying in the Carling knockout to maintain their momentum. And since they'll have 18 days without a league game between November the 5th until the 23rd of November, a slot that's likely to be accommodated by the Carling semi-finals.
Yeah, look, I mean, I said in the first round it's important to try and get through because because otherwise you're going to have weeks with no football, especially the next 2 weeks or so. So it's important for us to go there and try and get a positive result. It won't be easy, that's for sure. They're certainly a different team there than they are away, so it won't be easy for us, that's for sure. Look, obviously last weekend was a bit of a disappointment for us, to lose like that at the end, it was just big disappointing because I thought we deserved maybe certainly a little bit more, but didn't happen, and we've got to move on, and this is a different competition. So in a cup, it gives us a chance to try and, as I said, it won't be easy. There's no doubt about it. They'll be highly motivated. They lost, we lost. So we're also looking forward to the game. And, we scored a few goals in the league the last couple of weeks, but obviously didn't score on the weekend, which was a bit disappointing. But it was one of those games where it was going nowhere, so it was a bit disappointing, I mean, the pitch, obviously, when we went there the last time was a bit, wet and that, but I'm sure they've sorted it out. We've seen a few games there now, so it looks okay, It's going to be in the daytime, so it normally gets quite warm there, but we look forward to the game, as I say. And I think it's important for us to give our all and try and get through.
And how important it is for this province to finally lift the trophy?
Yeah, look, I mean, I wouldn't be talking about lifting the trophy yet, but it's important for certainly some Durban teams to maybe get in the semi-final. There's certainly going to be one team from Saturday going to get in the semi-final, and then obviously we'll take it from there. But as I said, it'll be a big battle, and we've got to take our chances and defend well when we have to. And that's pretty much the basis of the game. Well, I think you'll see a lot of coaches will say that this is certainly one of the, I wouldn't say easier cups, but better cups to win, you know what I'm saying? Because it's 2 games, 3 games, and you're in the final there. So the Nedbank takes a little bit longer, and the draw is always, for me, is always a big thing with cup competitions, you know, who you play, where you play them, you know. So let's get there, be prepared like we would be, and take it from there. And if you look back in history as well, yeah, I think it's a cup. As I said, I think if anybody, as a coach or a player, you can target this, and you know, you could say to yourself, you can get to a final here. You know what I'm saying? But you have to get through the earlier rounds first, obviously. And anybody can. They obviously thinking the same, you know. And we're obviously trying to be positive as we can. I don't think it makes any difference. I don't think it makes any difference. You can talk all day about players and this and that. On the K, different. It's different. You know the characteristics of the individuals, yes. You know, what's their mindset like, or those type of things, but you don't. That's what I said. Look at last year. I mean, you could have put your house on it, you know, that final. And even the earlier round, I think Magesi beat Pirates in the earlier round, didn't they? I mean, they beat 2 big teams, and they deserved it. To beat 2 big teams along the way like that and win it. Fantastic. Can happen in a cup. Cup competitions anywhere in the world. My favourite team, Man United, Grimsby. I mean, come on, you know. Let's not even go there. And that's the same sort of cup, a league cup, isn't it, you know? So anything can happen. In a cup competition, anything can happen. And you normally get teams that are, it's sort of, their game goes up a level, you know? Crazy.
Did he just say Grimsby, hey? Kevin Hunt. All right, the Golden Arrows head coach, Manqaba Mngqithi, says that his side must ignore the weight of history as they prepare to face TS Galaxy in the Carling Knockout Cup quarter-final at the Kings Welithini Stadium. That game on Sunday, 3 p.m. Bafana Bastande will walk into the clash with a grim record against the Rockets, having failed to win any of their last 9 encounters since back in 2021, a run that includes 5 defeats and 4 draws.
I never look at cup competitions in that space, because I always know cup competitions will always present surprises, and normally the big teams do not do as good as you would expect in the cup matches. It's Pirates recently, probably in the last 3 years, that have really dominated that space, but even then they've also been found wanting in some of the cup competitions. So cup competitions, you must just focus on the game that you are facing, regardless of who you are playing, and be a little bit more meticulous in looking at what do they do defensively, what do they do offensively, and try to come up with solutions and strategies to deal with that. But do not look at it as if it's a big or a small team, because cup competitions everywhere in the world are always a threat against the big team.
All right, let's head off to the UK now. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola believes that a trip to Aston Villa is the toughest away game of the season, as Man City prepared, though, for Sunday's Premier League encounter with the Villains. Now, City were beaten at Villa Park in each of the last 2 Premier League seasons, and head coach Unai Emery, who Guardiola rates as so smart, has led his side to 5 consecutive wins across all competitions prior to Thursday's 2-1 defeat to go-ahead Eagles in the Europa League.
The admiration I have for Unai is so high. He's incredibly consistent and well-prepared and so smart, so it's really good. Aston Villa, I know they are not in the Champions League that season for 1 point, or for, I think, the last 9 games, won 8 and lose the last one against in Old Trafford. So for me, it's a team of a Champions League. Last season, Champions League created a lot of problems. That after was the champion of the Champions League, PSG. So well organized and quality. Have everything. One of the toughest away games we have in the season.
Well, Guardiola was also asked if Man City had been overlooked as Premier League title contenders prior to their recent run.
Well, in the first 3 games, yeah, for sure we are out, and Liverpool is already done, and now it looks like Liverpool is done. And I tell you that they will be back. So I said many times, so I know all the pundits, all the specialists, former players, they know everything is going to happen after 5 games. I'm not able to do that. So always I wait 10, 15 games to know exactly what is going on. But I think obviously Liverpool, Arsenal are there, someone else will be there, and hopefully we can be there.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time.
#MSW. Hear that? That's the sound of the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco 2025, and you could win double tickets to the opening match. Simply visit Total Energies, fill up with 750 Rand or more of Excellium fuel, or top up with Quartz engine oil, and you're in the game. So join us as we celebrate the spirit of football together, and let's make Africa the home of the beautiful game. Exclusive to club members, valid 30 September to 17 November. T's and C's apply.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong! We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
Dlala Madluli, coach. The games are out. Who are you betting on?
Dlala Madlamin, top player. On Sports Stake 4, I'm going with the strongest defense.
Nice one, coach. But I'm going with the goals.
What's that, Coach Amanda? Now it's up to the fans to Dlala, or rather Dlala what they must. Dlalu 4.
Sports Stake 4 for only R2. Pick win, lose or draw for 4 games and you could win. Play at any participating National Lottery retailer. Be Njaya Game. Panda Push Up Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Pep Summer Hotline, how can I help you?
Hi, my very amazing child told me last night at 9 p.m. they must come to school as superheroes for Civis Day. 9 p.m. At this point, I'm going to put this Batman duvet cover on him as a cape.
Don't let this make you act out of character. Save the day with all kinds of kids' character wear from as little as $39.99. Add character sandals to match and summarize the world. There's a BEP for that, and that, and that.
Welcome to the Renault Capture Paycation, where your car payments take a 6-month holiday. Swap the instant noodles for lazy age rump steak and run your dryer without a care. This is living without car payments for 6 months. This is life on Paycation. Test drive the Renault Capture and start your paycation today. T's and C's apply. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services, product of ABSA.
South Africa, are you ready to switch up your life? Switch Energy Drink is giving you the chance to win one of 20 brand new Omoda C7s and your share of 20 million Rand in prizes. Smartphones, cash, shopping vouchers, airtime and data all up for grabs. Buy a Switch, dial *120*440#. Follow the prompts on screen, enter the unique code under the tab of your can, and you could be our next big winner. Go get your hands on a can and switch up your life. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
He's the man who's reached the edge of silence and he's chosen to speak for the very first time. Tapelo January joins us live in studio.
The internal audit report was basically trying to look into me, my president, and Mr. Bossman here. So there are news articles that says that I embezzled or stole about 35 million from Northern Cape Cricket. They make all these claims to say that I'm charged with 28 counts of money laundering and fraud. These are the articles that are out there in the public since my suspension. So I've been quiet.
Where would this money have come from? 35 million Rand is what you are being fingered for.
Northern Cape Cricket, when I took it over, didn't even have 35 million. So if they allude that I took 35 million, which means that no employee, no player, whoever should have gotten paid, no programs that Northern Cape Cricket should have run. This whole thing, Rob, like I open up, it's about protecting the president of Cricket South Africa.
#MSW.
#MSW. Our mentality and I would say sorry to repeat a lot, but our body language is in the right spot. And this is what could make us to be stable.
What do you want to see more consistency in
Play better during 95 minutes. So we play good, but we don't play good. We have to play better. So not because we don't run, no, because we wanna try it. We have to read it better. I must respect the club, and the private life is private life. Everyone has do what they want. I must respect the club, and that's the most important thing. The rest they can do whatever they want.
All right, so that was Pep Guardiola speaking about his turn, the upturn in form that his team has currently had. What about Chelsea, though, hey? The manager Enzo Maresca sat down in front of a media ahead of his side's Premier League match at home to Sunderland tomorrow afternoon. Maresca spoke about the return of Liam Delap as well, and how Marc Guéhi has been training and the talent of Esteval.
Yeah, we don't have any new injury. Liam took part of the session yesterday with the team for the first time, so he's not going to be available for tomorrow game, but probably for the next one, yes. No, the balance for me is quite easy in terms of we have 24, 25 players, good players, but at the end only 11 they can start. But I think since I joined the club, I showed that depends of the game, depends of the plan, we used to change players. So I know that when they don't play, they are not happy, but it's not just about one, it's about all of them. But they also know that they cannot play every game. And I spent one season with the Leicester in Championship, and I love Championship. So even if we play Premier League and Champions League, I always watch Championship. So I watch Sunderland since last season when the new manager arrived. They are doing very good, not from just this season, from last season. They play good football, they are quite strong, physicality strong, so I really like the way they are doing the things. Yeah, we have a chat with Mark 2 weeks ago. I told him that the way he was training I didn't like, and he needs to change. He changed and he get the chance, easy like that.
So what do you Well, Alexander Isak, though, is a doubt for Liverpool's Premier League game at Brentford tomorrow after picking up a groin injury against Eintracht Frankfurt this week. Now, the Sweden international, a British record signing, was withdrawn at halftime of Liverpool's 5-1 win in the Champions League on Wednesday. But Liverpool manager Arne Slot suggested it was not a serious injury.
I think his general game was something and I think the Liverpool fans liked. And we've seen more of that already. But as always, if you lose a game of football and you do the same things then when you win it, then the focus is on the negative things. And if you win a game of football with 5-1 because you scored 2 set pieces, then all of a sudden everybody is talking about the few good attacks we had during the game. Jeremy is not in a good place. What I mean with that is that he's definitely not going to play today, tomorrow, or next week. Hamstring injury, so that's going to take a while. Alex. Not too bad. Question mark for the weekend, and so let's see where he is then. And that's the same to be said about Ryan.
All right, so now a lot of you have been asking, hey, where's the legend? Legend, I don't know, stuck somewhere. People are talking about the G20 traffic around Sandton and around Johannesburg. So worry not. As soon as it happens, it will happen. Decided to go across to Cape Town now, and the Cape Town City Chairman John Cometers is on standby as we track. You heard Darren Keat early on say that he had never been relegated in his entire career. It was the first time that he had faced that prospect, and now having moved to Durban City, where he is in a better prospect as well of a cup competition as well as maybe a title challenge. Who knows what's going to happen when Gavin Hunt is in charge. John Cometers joins me on the line. John, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rob. It's been a while. How are you?
Very well. I should be asking you, how's life in a different division?
Yeah, it's tough, eh? It's tough. A lot tougher than I thought, and a lot of things that I've opened my eyes to as to how things are, and how the whole system works. And it's a good thing. It's an experience that I don't wish on anyone. But nonetheless, it really makes you see things from a different point of view, and some positives from that. And we keep going, Rob.
Geez, 3 things you've said in that sentence there, John, that really makes my eyes pop. You're saying it's a completely different experience, an experience that you never thought you would go through, and some of the things that you've noted. What is it? What's happening?
Well, listen, if you go 26 games with 1 win, there's something wrong, and we've got to take responsibility for that. It doesn't just happen by mistake. I think, to keep growing as a football club, if you don't keep on reinventing yourself, you become stale, and then, you hit a rut, and it's difficult to turn it around. I don't think there's anything I didn't try to save the team with, and apart from stepping on the field myself, we tried everything, motivational speakers, you name it. And if you see the players that we had, which are now playing in other clubs in the PSL and doing very well, you ask yourself, how did it all happen? And at the end of the day, it was 1 point. In fact, it was 4 goals. Let's not talk about the debacle of that last game, but we all know that was really out of sync with fair play. But nonetheless, it is what it is, and we need to suck it up and make our way back.
I mean, that almost sounded like you put your hand up and you say, I take the blame. You take the blame for things like not reinventing yourselves within the club as well. You say you tried everything, motivational speakers, you name it, but nothing was there. I mean, that was a star-studded team. Yeah, you were introducing a couple of new players, but if you looked at that and you looked at the starting lineup, which I did just earlier today, and I was like, you guys could have actually gone and challenged for league championship as opposed to fighting relegation.
Well, after 3 games, that's what we felt. At the beginning, we thought, my God, this team is gonna really surprise us this year. And things just turned out not to be that. And I can't even blame Eric for it. I can't even blame Mushin for it, to be honest. There was something in the team that just didn't work out, and there was perhaps a lack of camaraderie. It was a lot of little things. But when I look around in the environment, Cape Town City, after 10 years, we should have had a clubhouse built, state of the art. We didn't. Things like that I know were the right things to do for football, and we kept on going with the way we were doing things because, we were riding the crest, and you know how it is. You ride the wave, at some point it dunks you. And I think we learned a lot from that experience, and we're now trying to build the club from the bottom up again, which obviously involves a lot of youth and getting it right from the bottom up. And obviously the people that will be at the top controlling the content must have a lot of experience, and we have looked carefully to find the right person. I think we'll be making an announcement on Monday or Tuesday to bring in a director of football. And, we want to rebuild this brand. It's a very powerful brand, and we need to be in the top flight football.
Sure. All right, so Monday's an announcement for a director of football. What sort of director of football are you looking at? I mean, are you drifting back towards a Dutch approach as it was when Ajax Cape Town started?
Well, that's the tried and tested for me, Rob, and I don't know why I didn't do more of that over the years. That's why I put my hand up. I was very close to the team myself, but there comes a point where your voice becomes stale. You need people that got a lot more knowledge in the actual technical side of things rather than keep the team playing well because you drive them emotionally and there's passion in the club. And now we need to do that and the football and the content. So if you look at our team now, the way they're playing football is absolutely fantastic. And, I fear not. We are where we are, but I'm very confident that you look around the corner at Christmas time, you'll see a different picture.
I mean, very difficult to get up when you are already languishing, let's say, down the bottom 4, for example. But at the same time, I've seen the Black Leopards escape, from being rock bottom up until, match day 27. And then they escape that. Miraculously, they'll end up somewhere mid-table and they live to see another day. But there's something about the first division. I mean, they talk about all the crookery and the referees that are bought and everything else that happens down there. I mean, is that something that visually you've been able to see, and is that a worry?
Look, it's something that obviously we're worried about because that continues to be spoken in the corridors. But we've been very satisfied with the level of refereeing that we've had. I don't see any drastic decision any different to the ones that I had in the PSL. Perhaps it's still early days and the situation hasn't heated up. So I'm not going to reserve my comment on that. But I think there's bigger things to be dealt with, Rob. A club that comes from PSL and the revenues that you receive through the broadcast rights to the revenues you get when you're in the NFD are so drastic. Add a sponsorship to that you may lose, like happened to us. FNB didn't back us, didn't give us a chance to come back. You add those two numbers together, it's a frightening number of cash flow that flows out of your club. So then you have to deal with a whole lot of players that don't really want to be there, and they also don't want to walk away for nothing and take their clearance. They want to be settled as well on top of it. That's their right, but at the same time, it's them that put you in this situation. You're sitting in a situation where financially, if you're not strong outside of your football club, there is no chance in hell you can survive this.
Sure.
No chance. And we either have to come up with a formula that helps these NFT clubs on their way down and on their way up, like we reward them well when they come up so that they can at least purchase and get certain players and get on with the new season. On the way down, you almost need a parachute payment to assist you with the settlement of your players. That's just one thing, apart from the fact that your revenues are cut to a quarter of what you're accustomed to. And that's if you don't have a sponsor. So these are the things that we've experienced. It's been really tough. And, telling people to take lesser money when you have a contract, telling people that you can't continue with them and giving them notice. Telling players that you want to keep, that you can't afford to keep them. It's a very trying time for anyone who gets relegated. So in some way, we need to support that process because everybody's, not just the club, individuals, people are getting, really, they fight till the death for everything, and then you lose out, and then next day, you literally know you can't pay these guys. You just can't pay them. So you don't want also situations where we have clubs that don't pay the players and don't pay their staff. That's also not good for the reputation of the football industry. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but we also need to discuss if we're going to have an NFD, what's the purpose of an NFD? Because, the MLS has just got the MLS, 20 teams, no relegation, and they keep going. And, there's different formulas for acquiring players if you finished at the end, but you don't get relegated. You don't lose your asset. So, an asset in the PSL, what is it, anything between 50 and, let's talk about the normal clubs, 50 and 100. Let's not talk about the big clubs. And then you go down and it's between 10 and 15. And you don't have the revenue. So it's absolutely disastrous, and you really got to man up to face this. You've got to run the club. You can't disintegrate it. So you run it and you keep certain expenses, so you're going to run into more losses. And you probably can sustain it 1 or 2 seasons. And that's why you see these big brands have disappeared completely. It's harder for them to continue than for the guys that have just come up from the Motsepe that are paying their players 2 and 3 and 5,000 rand, and they're all just excited to be playing at a higher level on the same one pitch that they train on, with the same kit that they used last season. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And now you have a situation where you want to upkeep your sponsorship with your brand and your kit brand. So you've got a whole new kit you have to buy, and it stretches you at every level. So if we don't apply our minds at the executive level about football and these situations, and then you restrict the club from being allowed to have a normal football team, which is 11 players from anywhere they want to get them. They've got to be under 23. There's going to be 2 of them. You're only allowed so many foreigners, which is less than the PSL. But then you must go out and compete and try and get back into the PSL. So I think it's also been a good experience to have perhaps somebody, without blowing my own trumpet, with a lot of football experience, see this at first hand, because then I can make certain recommendations to the league to reconsider how we do things.
Yeah, John, I want to come back after the break and just ask you about what you just said, because I wouldn't have been a good listener if I didn't hear you say that FNB didn't support you. So I want to come back and just get clarity on that, because I think South Africans didn't quite understand why all of a sudden there was a new sponsor front of jersey for you. So when you come back from the break, we'll continue and conclude our conversation with John Comitis.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time.
#MSW.
The milk steamer was loud. So loud that Lungi heard hot milk instead of oat milk. It was bad.
So bad.
The milk didn't really sit right with the lactose intolerant customer. It was bad.
So bad.
Too bad they didn't have Yoko counter. With Yoko printer, orders flow straight to the barista.
So good.
Yoko counter. Super simple POS and payments in one. No contracts, no hidden costs.
James, congrats on the babies.
Yeah, thanks. It's a wild ride.
You're a new dad, 2 babies, 0 sleep, and 1 car that apparently couldn't cope.
Yeah, the hatchback was my baby, but it just didn't have enough space for my 2 new babies.
And are you happy with the price when you sold to WeBuyCars?
Very. We've even got some extra cash to splurge on one of those fancy prams that you basically need a license for.
Good luck, James. WeBuyCars. Geared for family, geared for you.
Lala Madluli, coach. The games are out. Who are you betting on?
Lala Madlamin, top player. On Sports Stake 4, I'm going with the strongest defense.
Nice one, coach. But I'm going with the goals.
What's that, Coach Amanda? Now it's up to the fans to dala, or rather dala what they must. Lalu 4.
Sports Stake 4 for only R2. Pick win, lose or draw for 4 games and you could win. Play at any participating National Lottery retailer. Enjoy a game. Panda, push up, play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Live extra with Checkers, SA's #1 in value supermarket. Save big on deals like Sir Fruit 100% fruit juice blend, 1.5 litres, any 2 for 89 Rand. Clover Butro full cream modified butter spread, 500 grams, 2 for 159 Rand. And Omo detergent capsules, 20 or 22 per pack, any 2 for 199 Rand. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Hey Country Fresh lovers, your favorite blueberry cheesecake flavored ice cream is now available as a limited edition Tropica. To celebrate, Country Fresh is giving 250 lucky shoppers the chance to win 2,000 Rand every day. Buy any Country Fresh ice cream tub, scan the QR code or dial the USSD and keep your till slip. T's and C's apply. Competition valid till 25 December 2025. Country Fresh, from scoop to sip.
Smooth, creamy, Country Fresh.
You could spend 10 minutes hunting for the TV remote, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2024 Kia Picanto, 52-year-old Janine now only pays 561 Rand a month. And for her 2025 Jatura Dashing, 29-year-old Sana pays just 796 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 43503. That's out to 43503. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
I mean, he's the man who's reached the edge of silence and he's chosen to speak for the very first time. Tapelo January joins us live in studio. What in particular is it with the SIU and Cricket South Africa and the president? For me, that sounds very, very serious. What wrong has been committed?
So the president of Cricket South Africa was the president of Northern Cape Cricket, and where I'm the chief executive of. So before us, there were certain things that was done there, and then they came and needed information because money was taken from governmental departments and institutions, which needs to be accounted for. The government has sent money here, and you need to account. So it's just north of like 13 million.
13 million?
Yeah, 13 million, yeah.
#MSW.
#MSW.
In conversation with John Comitis, he is the chairman of Cape Town City. And obviously, one of the things that he did mention before the break is the F&B sponsorship, and saying that they were not able to support them, and hence they've had to have a change of a sponsorship. It was always going to be intriguing, John, what happens there, because some sponsors, they stay with you. We've seen a Bloem Celtic being relegated, MTN stayed with them. We've seen a Black Leopards, in fact, being relegated, MTN stayed with them up until such time as they realized that they're not going to get promotion again, and then they had to say goodbye. For you, what were the circumstances? Because I really thought that having had the relationship with them, that at least a season would go by with you having the sponsor.
Rob, I was very surprised, I must be honest. 7 years down the line, had direct access, which is part of the same stable, and then we moved on to FNB. We had signed already a new 3-year deal, which was a very large deal, and they had the right within the contract, if we get relegated, to not continue. But that new contract didn't come into fruition because we got relegated before we were able to even start it. And they had the option to either say, look, we'll stay with you, or we'll stay with you for a lesser amount, which is what I expected, to be very honest. They've done a lot of hard work, a lot of good work for Cape Town City especially, and the community of the Western Cape. They've brought football access to many supporters out there. They've covered ticket prices, given free tickets throughout the season to many supporters and football lovers. So they've done a lot of hard work, and I think they built a good rapport with the football industry. And I was very surprised that they wouldn't back us for 1 year, even if it was a quarter of the amount, which we pretty much would have taken anything just to have the continuity with the brand and the opportunity to bounce back and reignite the proper contract. So that is the case, and we have to accept it. And we've approached a few other of our associate companies that we've been working with, and Sportpesa jumped at the opportunity and came up with a number that was very satisfactory for us. And we have a front of shirt sponsorship again.
But obviously, Sportpesa are no strangers to Cape Town City. They had no problems, no qualms about the fact that at a point there was a debate, and you would know it very well, John, within the league, talking about betting companies and their role in sponsorship, and they shouldn't be there.
Yes, that was the first one. Yeah, that was the first betting sponsor in the mix, and there was that debate whether there was a moratorium not to have any betting sponsors or not, and I proceeded to challenge that, and we were then able to continue because there wasn't anything that prescribed us not to be able to have it. And then once the other betting companies came in, and then Betway, of course, at this later time, anything from here on in becomes very difficult for betting sponsors to come in, but the previous ones all stand. So they took the opportunity. Sportpesa was a massive brand 3, 4, 5 years ago on the global stage, and they also had their challenges in Kenya, which was their base. And they're now rebuilding themselves. They've got a good outlet here in South Africa and in Tanzania. So, I think they're on the coming up again, and hopefully if we take the next step, they'll take the step with us in the PSL.
Good evening, Rob. Good evening to MSW family, and good evening to Upra John. Rob Musiye Kabecha. Upra John, didn't he see Indoyoba selling of his best players will catch up with him? Because if he looked at other teams, it did catch up with them. It caught up with Baroka, with Black Leopards, with Ajax, with Maritzburg United. The list goes on, that if you continue selling your best players, that will catch up with you. It even caught up with the SuperSport, because the SuperSport was almost relegated, I think, last season before they were sold. I think they escaped with 1 point, if I'm not mistaken. So didn't he think about that? Because also Upra John had sponsors. So what motivated him to sell, his best players, kodwa eben as his bonds? Ngosi Rob.
All right, Sia, thank you so much indeed. John, I mean, that's come up a couple of times saying that the best players were sold.
Rob, I'll give you 2-3 numbers, and I think people can work it out for themselves. The revenues that come from the league are about 35 million. You need 70 million to run a PSL club if you're going to have youth development. Because if I don't have youth development, what am I doing? Just to have a team to win a game on the weekend doesn't excite me. Youth development for me is part of my DNA. And that costs you a minimum of 7 million rand a year. Just the youth development. Never mind the marketing that goes around it, etc. Just the hard day-to-day stuff to run a youth academy. So it costs you 70, you're in for 35. You've got 35 coming if you do it the way we did it. So the rest of the revenue has to come from gate takings and from sponsorships. And unfortunately from player sales. Otherwise you can't make it. It's difficult to walk away from the certain deals that we get offered on our players. The problem that we had is that we didn't do enough on the recruitment side. Now you take Stellenbosch, they were quite smart with their recruitment. They got 2 or 3 good players in, they were prepared to pay a little bit of money for them. We didn't do that. And they had a good recruitment department, and we didn't really have a very good recruitment department. So you get all these players that get offered to you, you go by name, you go by reputation, they come to you, and they're not the same player that you thought you were going to get. And you go, shit, now I've got this wrong. And now I've got to go find another one. So now you've got to carry the one and bring another one. So these are the little things that we did wrong along the way. But I mean, in 10 years or 9 years, we sold 136 million rands worth of players.
136.
And that's gone. Yeah. And most of that has gone back into the club to keep it going. So and we did even more than that at Ajax. But just the infrastructure at Ajax, you look at Ajax, the academy that they have, and the facilities that they have, just to upkeep that is a big number. So if I'm going to do this and I'm going to carry on, I'm going to do it properly. Otherwise, I'd rather not do it. And this is where we are now. We're back at that kind of rebuilding stage, and we just hope that we can financially sustain what we're trying to do, so that we can get ourselves to the point where we get our promotion at some point, and move forward and carry on doing what we know how to do.
Zone committees must go back to the days of Ajax, Cape Town, how they ran that team with their academies and everything. Everything. Just go back a little bit. Because that team was successful, very successful, until they had some tiffs with his co-owners. That team was successful. He must go right back. He'll get it right.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what you were saying, though, that model worked very well. And
he's right.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's right. That's what we by the time we finished by the time we got relegated, we should have had from under 8, but we only still kept it from under 15. So, we never went all the way because it was just always one expense too much, and then you have to sell the next player to sustain a bigger infrastructure. So you're caught between those two decisions. Do I sell the player and grow the club so we can put more facilities and more youth teams, or do I keep the player because I need to win the game on the Saturday, even if I'm playing not the best football because I haven't developed my own brand yet, because I haven't had enough young players coming through yet. So it's a catch-22. But what is definitely a fact is that if we're going to do it, we want to do it properly. And this has maybe given us kick up the backside to catch a wake up and put back the right structures to rebuild this club.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to John. Rob, firstly, just want to appreciate John for demonstrating leadership and introspection in acknowledging that he might be part of the problem, and he's prepared to allow somebody to take over the reins and to come up with a turnaround strategy for Cape Town City, because the game has evolved, Rob. The expertise no longer sits within families And I think that's a great direction that John is taking. And I just want to find out from you, John, the decision to hire a foreign coach in a league where foreign coaches have not been successful. And we know that the likes of John Bartlett and many local coaches have been able to promote teams from that league. And also the profile of players that you've got. Do you think you've got enough players of the right quality to be able to fight and get results in that one of those toughest leagues in this country? Because it's not easy in that league, and pretty football will not get any team great results in that.
And you can see we didn't. It's taken us 5-6 games to realize the kind of football we have to adapt to in order to get results. The coach I have is indeed a very, very top coach. I can tell you that. We play magnificent football. It's come back to the way we used to be at Ajax, in the way that we trying to play, and it's not always possible on the pitches that you have in NFD. So you have to now adapt to that. And perhaps the Sean Bartlett would have started off at a higher level because they know exactly where it was, what is needed. But we have a vision, and we're going to pursue it for now. And the director of football will also be from Amsterdam, and that we hope that this is going to be the beginning of the return of Cape Town City.
Hi, I'm Robert Marawa and your guest there. Mr. Committees, just a quick one, man. I just want to find out from you. It seems like you are a man who have accepted, or okay, we are playing at the ABC Motsepe Championship here, and I heard you were talking that you didn't expect it to be difficult like this. And I want to find out from you, how is it? How is it out there? I understand it's difficult, but how is it? Do you think you're going to come back anytime soon? You are talking of a new sporting director coming in. Maybe the sporting director recommend a new coach and everything. It seems like you are a man who's willing to stay down there. But I want to know, what's the mandate there for the new guys who will be announced on Monday to bring the team back to the PSL when? After a season, after 2 seasons, 3 seasons, what's the mandate? Please, I will be happy if you clear that one.
All right, John?
I think the mandate is this for next season. That's really what the mandate is. We don't also discard the fact that we have other people that want to assist the club that are investors. And if that means that we can be in a position where we can purchase a franchise at the end of the season, we'll consider it. Because this same team that I have here is probably a top 8 team. And in the NFD, we're battling to get a result. It's a completely different way of playing and approaching a game. And don't underestimate the quality of some of these players down here. There's a lot of quality players that I've seen. It's opened my eyes to that as well. We keep on looking into Africa, and there's a lot of players right at our doorstep here. So it's a learning curve, and at the same time, we need to be brave and stick to what we believe is the football model that that's given us success in the past, and we must persevere.
John, just a final one, as briefly as you can, though. How long will it take you, and at what stage would you make the decision that, okay, you carry on, you soldier on in the championship division, or you get to buy a status that's in the Premiership?
There is nothing that makes sense in the football world or business world in the NFD. I can tell you categorically.
Nothing at all.
There's nothing that makes sense to run an NFD football club in this NFD league on a business level and on a football level. So get the hell out of there by playing your way out, buy a franchise if you have to, or reconsider your position.
Sure.
It's tough. It's tough. You've got to really have the passion, or you've got to be just prepared to run things on a shoestring budget, hope for the best. If you're lucky and you get it, you are, but at least it doesn't dent you financially. I can tell you now, the budgets here, we're in a loss of 20-25 million, and most clubs probably are losing 4 to 10 max. And we're on 25.
Loss already.
Yeah. So how long can you sustain 25 before you say, hang on, this is not a business model? because I'm not prepared to do it on 4.
Yeah.
Because that means I've got to get anyone and anyone to coach, and then I've got to get the players that are prepared to play for nothing. And so I'm not picking the players I want, I'm picking the players I can afford. So, it's tough. It's tough, Robbie, and that's what I'm saying. It's maybe we need to find a moment with the higher decision makers in the league that what is this about? What is this about? In the past, I used to say, do we really need an NFD? The way it's run, the way it is, not really knowing the pain that a lot of these owners are going through. And now that I'm there, I'm even thinking about it even more, because it costs the PSL to run the NFD. You must understand the revenue at NFD is 50M at the league level, the Motsepe sponsorship. You need 150. So now it's costing the PSL clubs from their portion of what the revenue is there for PSL clubs, because that's televised product. That's where the value is. Okay? And using part of that money to run the NFD.
I was going to say.
So why are you doing it? Why aren't you rather using Motsepe SAFA and then get that team to be the team that gets promoted to the PSL? Then you can save 100 million at the PSL level, and then the PSL clubs can at least pay their players every weekend, every month. Then we have no problem there because the funding will be even better. And perhaps we'll see higher quality players, higher quality youth, because now they can afford to run academies. And 10-year project, Rob. There's no shortcuts here.
Yeah, I was going to say that needs a part 2, though, as we talk about what to do in the NFD. But, John, thank you so much indeed. I think lots to think about over the weekend. Have a super, super weekend indeed, and good luck against the Bees.
Thanks, my brother. All
right, thanks there to John Komitas, slightly over the top of the hour. But, yeah, had to do what we needed to do, but a lot of truth being spoken. We'll catch you again on Monday on Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action. Play the game again. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. #MSW. Live now on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM and Soweto Live. At the same time.